this idea with Shiruk, then he also pointed that, rather than just focusing on postdoc, we can also, because this is here we talk about the early career. So it would be nice if we can also think about the PhDs. And me being almost in the same, I would say, scenario. This due to COVID, we had almost from past 1.5 years, we always have this virtual meeting. And that's where it's really challenging to get people on hold, even during the virtual environment. Like if someone says in a session that, hey, I'm looking for PhDs or postdocs or something, if we are in an in-person meeting, we can always rush to them after the session and then we can talk to them. And sometimes, we just get through the things at the same time. But when it's in the virtual environment, we have to drop them an email. And then, we don't know whether they would say immediately or they would see after 2 or 3 days, and then the whole thing's lost. So then we thought that, okay, we would do sort of an elaboration version of what we had during this Epec week. And we want to do it both PhD and postdoc. So this will be a sort of a session, which we are thinking EPSC would be a really good platform, because then we have a sort of very huge and diverse platform. And we want to have this kind of a fellowship opportunities, which is available for, of course, for all the nationals, and it focuses both within the EU as well as in the US. So, there are very common, few fellowships which are really common, which we all know, like, Marie Curie is there, DART is there, but then there are also very country specific. Like in Germany, we have DFK, we have Humboldt, and we have like Leipzig Association, whereas in Italy also we have some sort of a government fellowship. So the thing is, the information is there, but not everyone knows where to look for it and how to find it. People like us who are now part of the system, we know that, okay, this things does exist, but those who are just about to start their PhDs, or those who are changing the continent for their PhDs or postdoc, they don't know, where to look for this and how to approach. So the idea is either, so of course we have to see how many fellowships we can gather, and depending upon that, the next step will be, we are planning to contact the program coordinator of each fellowship. Because usually the program coordinators are the one who are really up to date about the information, and some of them every year they changes some of the eligibility criteria every time. So I think the better would be if we can invite the program coordinator, and in case the program coordinators are not available, we can invite the alumni, because at the end, they know the process. So this we are talking like maybe a sort of 2-hour session, but not maybe in one go, but then we will divide 1 hour and 1 hour session throughout EPSC. I still have to ask Noah how and where and in what manner we'll have this kind of session. But this is one of the sessions which we think it would be really helpful, since it was a really good success during this Epec week. We wanted to have sort of a more enhanced version of this during the coming EPSC. The idea is just to provide information across the table. Even let's say 100 participants are attending, and even if 5 out of them are getting benefits out of that, it would be really a very helpful and a very worth venture. So just yesterday, I just sort of prepared this document, this very summarized version of what we want to do. And these are the fellowship, which at least I know so far. But I'm sure like many of you are, those who are already doing PhD, are involved in sort of a fellowship, or know people who has this kind of different fellowship. So actually I have a request that if any one of you know something like this, it does not matter where it is, whether it is, in US, or whether it is in EU, or even if it is in other part of the world as well. Just either write to me, or I will also provide this link with the edit credentials, so that anyone can just provide the information, and we can then move forward in the little bit of planning phase. So this is what immediately as a diversity we thought would be helpful. The next part, so once we are done with the PSC 21, hoping that the next 22 will be in-person meeting, we want to also resume our series, which is the motivation journey, which we started in 2019. So that will be, if that's an in-person meeting, we can have opportunity to again interview people, but this time it will be also, I would say, mid-career researchers. So someone who are not really in early career, but someone who just finished their early career portion and now either they are, a researcher, or they are sort of involved directly or indirectly in different kinds of mission. And then we can conduct their interview. The process will be similar, like it would be 10 to 12 minutes as the previous one. And we will release like once video per month. And then someone from the early career would, like someone from our end, would start sort of questioning and discussing their opinion and their takeaway about this, all these problems and the bias or hindrance which they faced. So that would be the next step. So far we have these two things sort of in pipeline for us. I think the series interview, we will not start immediately because that's not sort of priority at the moment. The priority will be to plan this session. So anyone who knows directly or indirectly someone involved with the fellowship or even the program coordinator, if you come across, just, write to us, or I will also provide you my email ID in the chat box and also the link. So you can fill this document. It is little, so we want to plan it really on as soon as possible, because in September, the EPSC is due. And before, like as soon as we finalize from our side, then the schedule can go on. So we want to do it on as early as possible. So yeah, that's the two things which we had. We had also discussion yesterday. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, they can ask me right now.
I think Noah wants to say something.
Yeah, okay. First, let me just stop. Yeah.
I just wanted to add, like, yes, we're already in contact, Ruto and I, about this job fair. Well, I call it a job fair. I think it's more or less this. Okay. What just came to my mind is this sounds also a lot like early career support, and maybe you can get people from the early career support working group to help you out with this.
Yeah, okay. That's why I see I like literally open the floor. So here is the document. It's not just that, okay, because we are diversity, we will be the one who's doing it. Anyone, because I think we are 38 people, and I'm sure we can have ample amount of opportunity. All we have to do is just, grab it and put it at a one place so anyone can come and find everything which is there. And even I did not put the, let's say, the country limitation. Even if anyone feels it's in Australia, just put it there. It should be, the idea is it should be there in front of the eyes. That's it.
And another thing that I wanted to add, like I love the idea of having an in-person virtual event where people can talk with those coordinators. I think that's a great thing. What we also in our group were discussing, because we used to have a job board, but we stopped doing this, and also we threw the idea of having like a job board online out of the window, because it needs a person who constantly updates all the information, and there's so many websites who already collect this information. But having really people to talk to who coordinate those projects, I think that's the perfect way to go.
Yeah. So that's what the plan is. Thank you so much, Noah.
Any other question?
Yes.
Comment or idea?
Okay, so I can read some of the questions and suggestions in the chat. I'll just read out loud. So there's this suggestion from Edna. I hope I pronounced the name properly. So a great thing would be to add the opening and closing dates of the application for each fellowships. Yes, I agree. So once we have this list ready, so I'm going to put this document, like this list in terms of table, where we'll have this different column. So we can put like application opening date, closing date, and the contact coordinator or someone. So then everyone could see it, and it would be, when and how to apply. So that would be one thing. The next from Batiste, he said this date, website, and condition of applications. So these things, so dates, when you wrote date, I assume you meant to be the deadlines, right?
No, it was just to complete the Arno's question.
Okay, okay.
So I mean, it's like generic information about application for fellowships. So when you want to have information, this is the typical information that you are looking for.
Yeah. So what we can do is, and that, I mean, see the website, maybe condition of application, that is little too low, lengthy. So that may not go in this particular document at the moment. But once we are done with the session, we can, of course, during the session, we'll also tell the presenters that, just put this information in your slides, and post presentation, we'll collect all this, all those information and put it in a document where it is accessible to everyone. So that's for sure going to happen. So yeah, thank you. The next one we have from Sephora. She said, just the fellowships or open positions are also interested. Open positions means, can you just little elaborate when you say open position? So it means the money and the project is already there and people are looking for the applications. Okay, so yes, she said yes, so that's what she meant. We can also think in that direction as well, to have a sort of document where people would just put open position, but I think that is more or less related to the job research or job portal.
Maybe you should point out on the Epec Slack, there is a channel which is called job searching. Exactly. If you have a job, then just post it in there, because most of the time job openings are just very short, like short time frames. And if the fellowships are like repeatedly, like you get like repeated time windows for fellowships, that stays like relevant for years. Whereas like if people then have to remove those single positions out again. So just join the Epec Slack channel, which is called job searching.
I think the Slack channel would be the most up to date, because that's where people are, constantly providing the information. And when we talk about this open position, they have also, they are not like, let's say, not always they have this certain deadline. They are just looking for the applicants up to the point where they feel that, okay, now we find our suitable, application. So I would really, rather than to mix it up with the fellowship, I really like the idea, what Noah suggested, to, do it via job channel, which is already there in the Slack. So that also goes growing in the direction. Okay. Anyone has any other idea?
We have two questions, actually. I mean, Oleg raised his hand and then Indo. So Oleg, please go ahead.
Right. So I wanted to mention that if maybe you already know about it. So when I was at Imperial College, they had this whole website for looking for fellowships and funding. It's called Grant Finder, but it seems to be a paid service. I mean, being UK, it's of course people are making money on other people making money. But so what it basically is the database of all kind of funding you can find for all kind of purposes, like traveling, conferences, and actual fellowships and postdocs and so on, and PhDs. And you can search for it, and it's for many different countries. I think the whole Europe is represented pretty well, and NASA ones as well.
Oh yeah,
but so they have subscription for it. I'm not sure if it's a good option for our community to have. I mean, ideally, we would just have a list of all the different fellowships, but somebody has to update this list and maintain it. And then there is some deadlines are changing and so on. This system had actually not been up to date, but they had at least a list of things and links that you can go and search for it.
Yeah, this is really, really nice idea, Oleg. Thank you. I think now when you are talking about it, it's coming in my mind, because like in certain societies, we also have this kind of in the subscription that whenever some deadline is approaching, whenever some new fellowships are opening, they always send us an email. So we can, within the diversity, we can also sort of establish a pathway via which, regularly those who are just, those who are already signed up for Epec, they get like a regular email in case if some fellowships or something new opening are coming up. Rather than they have to look for it on the website, we can send them an email. I don't know how it's gonna possible, but we can but there might be some ways or method we need to look into it.
It could be a bit impractical sending email, because there's tons of different, like every country has at least a couple of agencies doing the funding.
Okay.
And then there is the European one, right? So there, and I suppose the application dates sort of align. I mean, there is like one call in the spring and one in autumn or something like that, if there are 2 calls per year. So that might be like a wave of spam email, of lots of emails coming in this period.
Okay, and thank you, Oleg. I think I really like the idea. Yeah, we can really think about in this direction as well. So rather than people coming in, we can just share the information with them every time when something new comes up, which is, yeah, it's the most, I think, the efficient way. Okay, I'll just write this also as a suggestion. Thanks.
And check the chat message from Anita.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So I can also, Anita said, I can also liaise with Edita Stonkute, who runs the early career portal on Europlanet, and she may be able to help with it. Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Anita. Yeah, I'll look into that.
This question.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not really a question. So what Ritu has proposed is really in one of the lines what we also thought and did for early career support. So it's just that we can actually, so is it okay if we can present the early career support working group next, so that we know what we propose and we can collaborate and then we can go forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also just I'm saying like a sort of heads up, just because it comes from me, it doesn't need to be limited to diversity. Everyone is allowed to provide the suggestions, and if they know the people, just jump in. Okay, don't hesitate. That's the point.
I know.
Go ahead.
I know. Yeah, I mean, if Erica is okay, she say, I don't know which is the working group she was going to share next. And Erica, is it okay? Shall I continue with early career support?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So I'm sharing my desktop now. So is everybody able to see the presentation?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this is a short brainstorming what we had yesterday for early career support working group. So I filled in for Anna Sarnock, who is the actual chair of early career support working group. And so the participating members were Bernadette Paul, Sri Rap, and Shubham Kulkarni. So one of the idea which came actually from Bernadette is that, so because Europe, okay. In one of the common thing for a non-speaking or non-native English speaker is checking our grammar in our paper. So Bernadette felt that, okay, sometimes we have a friend in our institute who always helps us, but sometimes our own friend gets busy, sometimes they get their own commitments. So we have a paper and we need to do a proofread. And even in our Epec annual week, on how to write a paper, there was an advice that always show it to your friends and ask them for grammar support, and it always works, because one of the common reviewer comments you get is, hey, I like it, but then I'm not able to understand what you have written, so rewrite this sentence. Even I get that quite often. Then I should actually agree, I should share. So that is one thing that maybe we as an Epec can have a platform, not really forcing everybody to, hey, share your paper, read and give to you. No, but if someone is in need of, want to do a grammar check or wanted to just proofread the paper just for language, they can do. And it also goes other way around. For example, in some of the especially in thesis, for example, when I wrote my thesis in Germany, I had to write a German abstract. So I wrote my English abstract, I copy pasted, I translated into deep translate, and then, but I still do not know how deep translate really did a good job in translating my abstract. And this was happening during pandemic, and I was already disturbing some of my friends for checking few things. So I literally went to Epec Slack. I do not know if many of you may know. I went to Epec Slack and I was like, hey, somebody who knows German, can you please check German for me in my German abstract. And there are really nice Epec people who actually help me in editing my abstract. So this goes either ways, not only for English, but also for different languages. So we thought it doesn't really have to be like read a paper pact. So what is read a paper pact is, hey, I have a paper or I have something, I would like some of you to proofread it. And if you commit to that, I am happy to volunteer to proofread one of your paper. So it's like give and take policy. It's like sharing the help. We thought it would be very nice thing to, at least a platform to have among the, at least an Epec Slack channel. And Srira he gave a very important thing that we have to think about is about liability and non-disclosure agreement. People should not steal somebody's work in doing so. So all of different loopholes we have to think about before starting this initiative. But I think this initiative is very, very important to have. And then the Epec resources. So this is something Ritu was really, really talking about it, and it is very important to have. And Epec has been thinking about it for a long time. It's just that now, even in Epec Annual Week and last EPSC, because it was a virtual event, we could actually record all the different talks. And if you think about it, different working groups always gives lots of different important resources. And I think it is only what happens is only if you are in an Epec committee, you know, hey, in EPSC 2019, there was this talk which was interesting. Actually, the EPSC working group always put those resources in the website, either in the form of video or in the form of slides. But then, or in the form of slides. But then, if a new early career is coming into our website, and if they will never know where to search for what for their resources. And I think that's where the Epec resources came. This Epec resources website was also, I think, created during the pandemic last year to really push forward for that idea. So what we thought, as an Epec early career support, they should take a responsibility of not really stealing the work of different working group, but at least having all the resources nicely cataloged, but linking to each working group's resources. And I think that is very, very important. And among that resources is Epec funding. I mean, when you, as a student, funds or everything, especially for me, I came from India. It is always important for me to find funding for my master's, my PhD, and of course we need funds for our postdoc. So funding is a very integral part of, I think, any early career students. So actually, last year we kind of started this initiative of creating a Google Sheet where Epec can, for example, creating a Google Sheet, it should be like a one-stop go platform where you get a clues about different fundings from master level, PhD level, postdoc level, even internships and travel grants and interdisciplinary. It's like any type of funding sources. For example, you got selected into a kind of astronaut program, but then they're asking you to pay for 5,000 rupees. And I never knew about a very nice funding. Now, I forgot, it starts with Z. They actually kind of fund students like 10,000 euros just to apply for such programs. I never knew that it was too late. I was selected for one of such program called POSM, but I could not get funding. And very late in my life, I knew there are funding resources which actually funds these things. And what we also try to do is that separate by country wise. So we need to fill things. For example, here Belgium, just trying to take all the resources and also giving links to it. Okay, it is not really, it's not, and for at least for it's not really an extensive resources. But then I think once we start building it, it's going to be amazing. And we do not want because not everybody will, not one person will know every funding opportunities throughout the country. But then because Epec is an amazing network of students from, I think, across the world studying and collaborating in studying, each one of us will know at least 2-3 different fundings we would have applied for. It should be a very collaborative effort. We should just, when we have this Google Sheet, we just have to like update this Google Sheet now and then and add the things and then go on. So this initiative, we kind of started last year during the pandemic, and I think we should go for it. It is a long-term project. We have to keep improving. We have to keep improving this, and then it's in very similar line what Ritu was talking about, and that is a very important initiative we should have. And one more thing, what we're thinking about is Epec Alumni. So Epec Alumni is also not a very old, I mean, it's not a very new idea. It is an idea which has been happening. For example, Epec was born, from 2017, and until then, we have few Epecs who are committee members who left us for a better job, for an amazing career. Or they even moved to an industry that is also an amazing career. And I think it is important not to leave our Epec members. We have to keep in interaction with them in a form of Epec Alumni Network, because if you think after 10 years, all of you are going to be amazing in your careers. And I think it is very helpful for new early careers to get your insights in form of some Epec Alumni meet, which we will organize in years to come. And if you have any more ideas on, there are so many things that we can think about and implement under Epec Early Career Support, because early career support is one of the most important things, because we are all here to support each other. And I think we need to keep thinking about varieties of resources, how we can share with each other to support each other in a form of centralized place. So join Epec Slack. So this is the QR code for the main Epec Slack. If the QR code doesn't work, use this tiny URL. So this will take you to the main Epec Slack, and you should explore every working group with a tagline WG, WG. You try to join various working groups very interested, and try to learn what the team is doing. If you want to share more towards early career support ideas, join the working group early career support to share ideas and to collaborate with the ideas what you have already proposed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Indu. That was great. And actually the chat is busy with comments.
I try to control myself not to look into the chat while I was talking. Okay, let me see into the chat. Where am I?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any question that I'm missing in the chat, or you can add any comments, suggestions, questions? This is an amazing.
Yeah, Anita.
Yeah.
Wait, I can find it. A lot of messages.
Amazing.
Wait. Yeah, everyone loved the idea of.
Thank you.
Read the paper pact.
Oh, lovely.
Idea. Rutu said, I literally received a review of my manuscript last week, and they suggested me to check the English grammar. Actually, I got a paper rejected because they said that my English was not good. So I made it read by a native speaker that I know, a very kind person. He read it, he went through it. He didn't really change lots of things. So he suggested that sometimes editors are so overwhelmed with submissions that, yeah, maybe they are seeing even the very little things. So guys, don't be discouraged. And I think that Indu's idea is actually a great idea.
It's Bernadette's idea. I would say Epec participant.
I think at the end, the editor was just happy that I made it read to someone. Yeah. I mean, it was really not a big change, but yeah, you know, make it read to a native speaker is actually a great thing.
Thanks, Bernadette. Thanks for the lovely idea.
Thank you for presenting.
Thank you, Bernadette. Amazing. Love the idea.
Oleg suggested color code the fields for month of call opening.
Sorry? Color code the fields for months of call opening. Yeah, that's a very amazing idea. I think we should also think about color coding, not only for, it's an amazing idea. Yeah.
Like based on the field?
Or
we should, sorry?
maybe have them by months. sort them by months. I don't know, have like 12 fields like for each country and like sort them by the months.
Maybe like 4 quarters, like we can divide the year into 4 and early, mid, and then late. That's a lovely idea.
I guess it always depends like how all those fellowship clutter together in different months. I don't think they are evenly distributed through the year anyway. Like 1st of January, yeah, right.
I know.
I don't think
and
so.
1st of November. Oh my God. Perfect. Thank you guys for all the amazing comments and to give the thumbs up for the read a pad idea. We'll do lots of things. Thank you.
I also love the alumni idea. I think, for example, Petra would be very happy to.
Yeah, we have full view of actually starting from Lena. There are lots of amazing people, Solmas, and lots of amazing people. We just have to keep them with us, and then we can kind of use them in the coming years as a alumni. They can give lots of different insights into getting the career and everything.
Yeah, and they were very enthusiastic about Epec because they were part of it. So give a support.
Yes.
Anyone who needed it. Thank you very much, Indu.
Thank you so much.
That you were leading the discussion for the early support group. So the early career support. Yeah, any other question for Indu before we move to the next one? Okay. I think we said everything. Thank you very much again. Now we can move to the next one. Well, we don't really have an order anymore, so we can go with outreach if Zach's fine with that.
I think Anastasia might give the...
Yeah. Oh, there's Anastasia.
Hi. She's there.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hi, Erika. I have some notes from yesterday's meeting. So it's pretty much a document. I don't have a presentation, but I can share the document just to have everything in front. So just give me a
had a lot of people.
Yeah, we're very happy because it was quite actually a successful meeting from my perspective.
That's great. That's super.
Okay, so I guess you can see the screen. Yep.
Yeah.
So yes, we had roughly 10 people. Thank you all for attending. I'm very happy personally because in the previous meetings we had less people. So it seems that outreach has gained the importance that it actually has. The main session was to meet each other. We had a quite nice atmosphere. We discussed about our backgrounds, our experience in outreach. We realized that there are people that have some outreach experience, and they talked about that to the rest. So there were many insights regarding that. And there were people that don't have experience, so they really came to the group to get some. And we like this combination of people having and people not having experience because we can cover both. So the second part was mostly ideas and brainstorming of what we can do. Of course, I will start just like with the current status of the activities we have, and I think we all agree to continue these ones. We have the activity that we're collecting outreach material for the community. So that includes anything like a proposed activity, worksheets for schools, any material that already exists. We are collecting it together in one place so we can enable the effective distribution to the rest of the Epec community. Already we have some material, and thank you all for sending some extra. We are uploading this in the Google Drive, so we will send a separate mail if you are happy with that to you, and you can ask your colleagues, your fellows, your any contacts you have that they may have done an activity and they have some material. Always with the copyright, so there is no worries about that. And the language can be any, at the moment, European language, but we can think about that in the future. So don't worry if it is in a different language rather than English. Of course, this can help the people from the same country or the rest. And let me just yes. Okay, so we'll include that link, or you can send it to the Epec outreach email. But just bear in mind that it's something that we have started 2 years ago. Due to the lockdown and everything, it went really like slow, and it was delayed. So we want to push a bit that, because we know that many people want to use such material. And then, of course, we have our inspiring stories. And again, thanks, Zach, for all your support. I just wanted to say, because sometimes it is not mentioned that much, but Zach is doing an amazing job for the inspiring stories. And we just wanted to ask, I don't know who is responsible. We realized that not all of the stories appear on the website. So when you enter, just few of them, like highlights, we don't know where to find all of them. So I don't know if it is the communications group that is responsible, or someone from the Europlanet side.
Pivos is taking care of the website, so we can tell him. He had to leave now, but
okay, yeah, good. Just to note that. Now, the ideas for future activities, there are two main things. One side that we have people that really want to get the chance to do outreach. Of course, due to the situation now, it's quite hard. We know that there are restrictions and limitations, but even with you know, something quite really not much organized to a huge level or with many people, you can do outreach even with few people or in your local areas. So an idea that was quite mentioned, and by many people, of course, that already have done that, is just you know, bring a telescope and do something, or connect with your local communities, local astronomy clubs. We can probably again push a bit more this idea, because we realize that many people don't know that there are local clubs in their communities or their cities. We can somehow connect that. I don't know, maybe during the EPSC, where we have also the outreach session, but also the amateur session. Maybe we can have a common something, a common discussion, maybe, to bring together the young researchers or scientists with the amateur or school teachers. So this was the main idea that we discussed as well, to connect somehow the PEC members with educators or stakeholders, people that are interested in getting someone to talk to their students. And this is a point that we all agree that we would like to have some details, information, and a motivation sentence about why we would like to talk to students, to schools. And a question really to the Europlanet, I would say, community and whoever is responsible, if we can have our profiles, like we already started collecting this information, 3 or 4 sentences for each person, where teachers or, you know, like other stakeholders could contact us, could contact the members to get a presentation or a discussion with their students. We know already that many schools are doing activities, so it will be nice to have this connection, and that's the main thing that was not discussed previously. So this is a new idea. We believe that it's not hard to be done. So if, I don't know, Anita is around, or someone else from Europlanet, if you could consider this idea, that would be nice to get more visibility. All right, so this is the main thing. Then, yes, the social media presence was discussed a lot. Yes, it's hard, but I don't know again what the communication group has as priority. To have some outreach activities, maybe it's like from our perspective, we discussed that yes, it's hard because you don't know how many people you will reach and all these drawbacks, but it was one idea, so we just put it down. And then the third thing is to write some articles once in a while for the general public, and this can be on one specific topic, but covered by different perspectives. For example, we mentioned the example of Mars, where we have someone that is working on the geology, someone else in the astrobiology perspective, someone in the atmospheric, and then compile one nice piece which covers from a broader perspective one topic, since we have so much variety. And this is actually one of our highlights in the Epec community, the planetary sciences, where we have different aspects, not just the physics or the planetary or biology, it's everything together. And finally, I don't want to delay more, but this was mentioned again for first time, the financial support that Epec members can get. So since there are outreach funding applications, which are specifically for outreach, it was mentioned that there probably we lack the knowledge, and it's true, the knowledge of how to do a successful application for that topics for outreach. And probably we can arrange a special session or a webinar, something maybe again during EPSC or relevant by someone that can help us with that. Again, we can ask the broader community or Europlanet, where they have more specialized people to arrange that kind of webinar. I think it's quite useful for everyone, even if they don't plan to do now as I don't know, like an application. In the future, they probably might need. And sometimes even in the general funding applications, you need to include a part for a session for outreach. So something like this, we believe is important in general for everyone. And another thing is probably, again, ask someone that is from the Europlanet community if we could have an Epec funding outreach scheme, like similarly with the general public engagement scheme, which is for all, I mean, scientists and backgrounds, regardless from the young status. So this could be more focused on the young researchers, just to encourage them to do more outreach. It can be something very small, but at least it's a beginning rather than nothing. So I think that's all. If I forget something, Zach, you can, of course, feel free. And
no, I think that's everything we covered.
Yeah, go on, Zach. Okay. So I think Fivas left because he had something came up for him. So I don't know if someone is presenting on his behalf, or if he didn't have anyone in the brainstorming. Is someone presenting for him? Oh, okay. So I'm the only person now from the communication working group. So if you want to discuss something, we can do that. I didn't understand. Wait, let me find the point again. Increase our presence in social media. I ran some sessions through social media. What do you mean?
Yes,
like
so that was
on Facebook, for instance.
Like what my understanding for that was that like some one or two Epec members could do something like a live. That was the point, exact, wasn't that? Something like where people could, the general public could ask things. I mean, I'm not sure what was the main orientation of that point, but yeah,
it's actually a great idea. You know, we could actually create a YouTube channel or use the Europlanet, because I'm sure Anita will support us in this thing. And yeah, we can do a live where I don't know, either we have a session of outreach like live at the moment, or you can give advices and tips and people can write comments and ask questions.
Yeah, I think the suggestion was like an ask me anything, and you know, kind of let someone, like one person from the group take over the Twitter for a day or something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, we can do that. We can discuss it in the next week.
Yeah, we can start. We can do it as we said. In any case, this can be an experimental thing. We don't really expect many things, but we can just have an experimental session. Then we can see if we establish.
Yeah, it's great. I like it. Yeah, we can develop this idea. Okay, let's see if there are questions. Oh yeah, there is still a discussion going on about the English in papers. So any question or comment or additional idea for the outreach group? Though I think you had the 50% of the participants. So.
That's probably why we had so many fresh new ideas, you know, like every time the new people bring something. So I'm just wondering if we will have to send that, if we could send that separately to your planet, or what is the next step so we can proceed, you know, because it's really brilliant now that we have the momentum to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think
these are things that don't require much, like effort, let's say.
Yeah, I think now that you have all these new members and ideas to discuss, it would be nice to keep it active and keep discussing it like once per month. I mean, it's not a daily job. But yeah, within your working group, you should definitely develop all these ideas. And then, yeah, we have to send reports to your planet.
Okay.
So at the end of the annual week, I will ask each co-chairs of the working group to send me a summary of the discussed things.
Also, if you needed like a funding, even before European support, if you can write a short report why you need a funding, how much you need and everything, then we can forward to the Europlanet board. And then because we do have some Epec funds we are not using because of the virtual events, we can try if we can use that. We should use the money we have.
That's really nice, Indu. Nice idea. Okay.
Thanks for all the work. Yep.
I have another comment, also in a connection that Erika said that she's now the only person representing the communications working group. I will also say something in this regard with the communication working group. I think like each working group somehow has to communicate what they're doing. So the collaboration of the communication working group with all the working groups has to be much tighter. So I think there's very important that people from the communication groups, something is getting very loud somewhere. That people from the communication working group could like also be invited to the meetings, or at least one person, like, because if you need people from the communication working group to help you to make those live events, for example, then they do the job on telling you how you have to set it up. But ultimately, for example, if Zach is then handling the ask me anything and he's sitting there and answering questions, then he just needs the support, right? So somehow we have to think about it like an IT group at your university. It's a communications group that helps you to get things going. But for this, they have to be involved.
Yeah, this is something that we actually discussed within the communications working group. The fact that sometimes we don't really know what the other working groups are doing. So we can't really, tweet about it or just, do our job of being the communication working group. So it would be really great if you could invite us to your monthly meeting, or I don't know, also.
Or vice versa, that you from the communication working group invite the chairs of the other working groups to like a monthly communication, or like monthly or like every 2 months, or depending on how much work.
Yeah, probably.
But did you invite the chairs, and the chairs have like a list ready of things they want to do, they want to communicate, like then you tell the people what you want to know, and you really invite them for a very focused meeting. So you don't have to join maybe a 1.5 hour meeting of our group talking about all kinds of things. I think maybe you should invite people to a call. maybe only the chairs plus minus co-chairs if there are.
Yeah, you're totally right. That's a great idea. We should do that. Yeah.
Thanks for mentioning that. So we'll have to, for example, forward some main ideas that we want to the communication group, something like that. Okay.
Okay, any other common question? Discussion about English in paper still going on. Okay, I think there are no questions.
Should I stop sharing?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Anastasia and Zach. That was very fruitful.
Yeah, thanks everyone for participating. We were really happy to see so much activity. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I see that James is online. Here, James?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we can talk about New Frontiers. So I was in 2 working groups, but in the annual week, no one came. So I had time to focus on New Frontiers. And with James and the other guys, we had a very intense discussion and many ideas came up. So now James is going to present them. Thank you very much.
So if I share my screen quickly, I'll just share some of the brainstorming that we had. Can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. So obviously when we started the discussion, New Frontiers is obviously in pretty, how to say, it's not so developed as a working group. And so we did kind of start with the initial goal of actually defining the goal of the working group, because Erica's kind of been doing this job herself for the last quite a while. So we kind of thought, where do we want to take the working group? And there are a number of different directions that we thought of. I'll talk through these in turn, I think. So number one thing we spotted was that, I mean, from some of the kind of work similar to New Frontiers that I do, we have a big problem with language barriers. And it isn't necessarily the case of just translating things on our webpage to another language, because then people who can't natively speak English try to engage with us and we can't then work with them. So what we thought a nice approach to this would be to build a kind of a network of contacts in these countries where they can act as a kind of go-between between the work that Europlanet do and then some of the things that people like PhD students, for example, in these countries can get involved with. So we thought it might be nice to reach out to some science groups or some of the universities in these countries. I thought it might be nice on EPSC, on the EPSC 2020 webpage, they have a list of all the countries that participated. And there are a number of people from these underrepresented countries we want to target. I assume the case will be the same in EPSC 2021. So I thought it might be quite nice to try and reach out to these people while we have them at EPSC. That's something to discuss with the other working group. I'm not sure, we weren't sure about kind of taking their email addresses. I'm not sure whether we have to get their permission for this and things like that, but that can be discussed. We also thought it might be nice to kind of make a poster or something very visual that perfectly summarizes why these underrepresented countries should engage with Europlanet, all the fantastic things that the network offers, including this annual week, for example. Try and use these people as a go-between to get to more PhD students. And on the topic of the annual week, something that Erica proposed, which I quite liked, was kind of reserving a number of spots at that annual week for underrepresented countries. So when this is physical again, and it depends on funding, some of those places are reserved for these people, which I think would be quite a nice idea. They could even have their own event. This is maybe something more virtual to connect these underrepresented countries with each other rather than having to go through us. Something that Flavia, who I saw came on, and I don't know if she's here at the moment, but she's in Brazil, so she got up super early to join the Zoom meeting earlier. She was proposing we use the early careers training website that Europlanet have, you know, the one that advertises PhD opportunities and things like this. We could potentially advertise collaboration opportunities. So that Connex working group that I work with, for example, could go on there and people who want to participate in an international project. Likewise, if any of us have any tasks that we're happy to collaborate with people from these countries on, they could go on a nice section on this website, kind of a list of opportunities for them, which we thought would be quite cool. We thought these, and again, because no one in our discussion was from the countries that we're trying to target, it was difficult for us to try and guess what they want. But we did our best. And one of the things we also thought they might appreciate is help with doing outreach opportunities. So maybe some training, we give them resources. I know of loads of places that I'm involved with that generate outreach resources. And it might be nice if we can pass some of these along, maybe translate them, and then they can be used in these countries as a way to help people try to engage with us to start with. And then these underrepresented countries will see the Europlanet logo, and then when people in their PhDs, they will want to participate in that annual week, for example. Something that Arnold suggested was also, we do this transnational access program, and we thought we could add a bit of kind of a reciprocal element to it, where the locations that are visited then come back to Europe to the institute of the person who visited, and it's more of a kind of an exchange program. So rather than us just heading out to Botswana, packing around for a week and then coming back, we bring someone from there with us, and they kind of maybe understand how to do some of the data handling that's done. Maybe a PhD student could incorporate it into their project, something like this. So those are the key areas that we discussed. I know, Erica, you were kind of leading the conversation as well. Is there anything I've missed?
Sorry, James, can you repeat the last?
Is there anything I missed?
No, actually, I really love your organization and color coding of, our brainstorming. It was really, really nice. I really want to thank you all, Arno and Flavia, together with James. We had many ideas, and I think this exchange idea is great, as well as reserving the ExoSpot to underrepresented countries. If you have other ideas, guys, now that we are all gathered together, other comments and things to suggest, I see something in the chat. The exchange seems to be a good idea. I really like. Okay, great. So they agree with the exchange idea. Of course, I mean, this is not something super easy. It's something that we require an effort and a bit of time to build this network. So if any of you wants to help, like even in a minor, very small way, any contribution would be very, very appreciated. We're just 5 at the moment. So if someone can just pop in sometimes and give your opinion, you're really more than welcome to join us on the Slack channel, where we will mostly discuss these things. Any question?
If anyone even has links in these countries, it would be a really nice place for us to get started. Because like I said, I think EPSC 2021 will be a good place, but those personal connections are the ones that we can really exploit, because I think people trust us a little bit if they know us from somewhere else. So if anyone has any personal connections that we could use to get started, Slack would be a good place to hear about those.
What are the countries? Underrepresented countries that have young or non-space programs. So of course, Botswana is the classical example that we always bring up, because they just had a lot of fundings for space research and planetary sciences. So they have the money, but they need experienced people to work with. So we always repeat this concept that it has to be a collaboration, not like, okay, I go there, I see the sample, I take the samples, and then I go back and I'll send you a draft at the end. No, it has to be really a collaboration, an exchange where everyone gets to learn something.
I think also Europlanet really focuses on underrepresented countries. And I mean, if you know what are these countries, and I think there is an early career officer who are representing at least few of those country hubs. Maybe that could be one league to get one network to ask them how to brainstorm the ideas, what you have to go to their countries.
Now, José made me think about something because he wrote Portugal is one of these countries too.
And actually, when we think about Epec Annual Week, we think about, hey, can we go to even an underrepresented country? I mean, Italy is not an underrepresented country, of course.
But indeed, after Padova, there was a proposal to have the next annual week in Eastern Europe. I'm not sure if it was, I don't know the English pronunciation, Bulgaria or Hungary. I can't remember the country was, but it was in the Eastern Europe and it was an underrepresented country. So I totally agreed on that. Yeah, one thing that I wanted to add is that the idea at the beginning when this working group was born was to target underrepresented countries outside of Europe. That's why the name New Frontiers, like no frontiers, something worldwide. Portugal is in Europe, José.
Can I ask something? I had the same, I needed the same clarification. So in my mind, underrepresented countries could be even like European countries, the Eastern one countries, or even Greece. Like when I go to applications, Greece is considered as underrepresented. But I understood here that you're mostly referring, as you said, to, for example, African countries that don't have the opportunity.
This is a discussion that comes up at every annual week. And indeed, every year we have this doubt. Should we refer also to underrepresented countries in Europe? I really don't have a question for that, an answer for that. I mean, for me, any underrepresented country would be a good target, of course, because if it doesn't matter where they are.
I think maybe we can say an underrepresented, maybe how big a planetary community has showcased in that country. So maybe in some countries there is a small but then very thriving planetary community, but then it's shadowed by other countries. Maybe that's underrepresented. They are like really, and EPS really takes a very important point there, because earlier there were lots of complaints about all the speakers for EPSC were all from maybe the same country. They're taking the same people, so they always look for invited speakers who are from underrepresented countries. I mean, they are amazing scientists, but just that they just shadowed out just because of the place where they live in, maybe something like that. I think it's that. Yeah, and Europe has a very strong viewpoint of underrepresented countries. We can simply ask them, hey, give it the names, we'll find the people. Instead of we thinking about that so much.
Yeah, indeed, I think that if we ask Europlanet, we will have full support from them about these initiatives.
But does they have a definition of this sort of underrepresented country? Maybe they have their own definition, Europlanet, and we can just use this one. I mean,
let
to be easier.
I think there is actually Europlanet also gives a reduced fee for underrepresented countries, and I think if you read that, what they mean by reduced fee, I think we will get that.
I have because I'm involved in this discussion, because I have people in underrepresented countries and in Africa, in Ethiopia, for example, or Nigeria. So the complaint is that the fees are not really reduced, to be honest. Like, fees are expensive even for European countries. So imagine for them, like paying for a virtual conference 100 or 150 euros is not that easy. So I don't know, like, if this is maybe the barrier. All money should be covered for these countries, from my opinion, because this is what I heard as well.
True. Actually, one thing we also do in Epec Annual Week, for example, there is a fixed rate for travel expenses, But then sometimes in some underrepresented or in some countries, there are no direct routes because there are no direct Ryanair or something. They could not, there is a stopover and their travel fees, I mean, their travel expense is a little higher than another normal, I mean, than other Epecs who could easily afford. So we have actually approached Europlanet to get the complete refund of those people also. I mean, we always try to like help the people, help the early careers who also in underrepresented countries, in, at least when it comes to funding for Epec annual week. But then, yeah, we really need to talk about this so that there are lots of inclusivity when it comes to Epec. Yep. And there is a link which I shared in the chat. It's at least Europlanet's definition of what they consider underrepresented states, because it's a society. They must have really went through all the political discussions on which country should be and which country shouldn't be. And I think for now, to start with, we can simply take what it is and start with that. And more we learn more about what they are, maybe politically we can expand.
Thank you, European countries.
Yeah, they include everything, Europe and abroad. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
There is no
I was
problem
looking
with
for
that.
this, but couldn't find it. Thank you very much. This is great.
Thank you.
Yeah, see, there are also countries from Europe. It's yeah. I mean, we could and probably should target also those located in Europe because they're still underrepresented and so on.
I would say that bigger is the list, better it is. Better is the larger is the list, better it is. No, yes, because you mean that you can give the benefit to the largest audience.
Yeah, true.
Other questions, comments? No. Okay. Thank you very much, James, for presenting.
Maybe one comment.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have anybody join in the annual week group, right?
Yeah.
But of course, if we want to hold like an annual week in an underrepresented country, it would be highly beneficial to have somebody from such an underrepresented country to co-organize or like be the main organizer of the event because of the venue and the connections and everything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there was a volunteer. Anita told me, but it was a long time ago, so I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
but so, yeah, of course, this person from Eastern Europe volunteered to organize it there. So there is at least one person, and then yeah, we have to find someone to work this person. And of course, I will need some help too for the next year in Padua because yeah, everything is organized, but there are a few things to finalize.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out, like to everybody who's like listening in now. It's very important that we get people in this annual week group so we can keep having annual weeks where people can hear about us. Otherwise, nobody knows what we're doing.
Thank you very much, Noah. Thank you. So yeah, I don't have results to present for the annual week.
I do not want to put Bernadette on the spot, but then she was interested to have an Epec annual week in Hungary as well.
That's great.
Yeah, I have lots of connections. So yeah, I would be happy to be a co-chair if we would hold an Epec in Hungary. Sure.
That's great.
Thanks, Bernadette. Yeah.
There you have your results.
The Slack channel of the annual week, and we can talk about that. And I can try and find who was this volunteer that Anita was saying, and if he or she still wants to do that, I mean, we can coordinate. Okay. So please join me on Slack.
Erika.
Yeah.
If you need any help for annual week next year, cut me in. I'd love to help.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm very happy. Thank you, Noah, for bringing this up. It was indeed needed. So I found a few volunteers to help. Thank you very much. Mariano has to leave. That's okay. See you soon, Mariano, and thank you for joining.
Erika, bye. See you.
Maybe we have to take a group photo soon.
Oh, yeah, indeed. People are leaving. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it now, and then we can go with the next.
Yeah.
So, okay, there are just a few cameras on. Show us your beauty. That's great. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. So 2 windows, 2 pages of people. So let's go with the first one. 1, 2, 3. And on page 2. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, I didn't paste page 1. I always do this mistake. Wait.
Lessons learned.
Okay. Yeah, never learned. Let's repeat page 1. 1, 2, 3. All right. Yeah, Sri Rupi is here too now. He wasn't before, so it was great to retake that. Okay. Do we want to do the funny too? Yeah. Okay. Funny page 1. Great. Funny page 2. No, sorry, I have to paste it. Okay. Funny page 2. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Indu, for reminding me about the picture. Yeah, we forgot to take pictures at the social event. That's bad. We had a lot of fun after all.
I stole some screenshots where you guys are playing.
Ah, great.
Okay.
But not in other breakout rooms.
That's okay. At least we have some memories. Oh, Karina took screenshots too. Thank you. That's great. Okay, then we can move on to the next working group. Noah, do you want to?
Yes.
Great.
There we go.
Even the introduction music.
Yes, exactly. Welcome to
the
to our working group super awesome brainstorm session. Now, so we had a small brainstorm session, but it was actually very interesting and fun. It was together with Zé, Renz, and Jules. Zé is like already, yeah, you know him. It's the guy on a camera there. You should rename yourself, Jose. Otherwise, nobody knows who you are. Let's just keep that open. Yeah. All right. So we talked just, okay, let's maybe go back real quick. No, there we go. We talked basically through what we have so far for this EPSC, because we already have like quite an elaborate plan of what we want to do. But of course, we also kept like everything open for like new suggestions and new ideas. But as we didn't have like as many people as other groups, we do not have like a bunch of new events. But there's one new thing, which is an old thing, which is now new again. We will come to in a minute. So the first things we were talking about was the mentoring at EPSC, which is like organized by Zé, and he has also some helpers in the background. And it's like last year was a huge success. Everybody who joined in said, yeah, I would definitely want to go for it again. It was very useful to have somebody like guide me, or in the other way around. Yeah, it was very fun telling people like the ins and outs of like a conference. However, the communication was not very successful over the Epec Slack, because the mentors, I think it was mostly the mentors, not the mentees, didn't really know that they could communicate also over Slack. However, this year there will be a Europlanet Slack channel, which will be open to everybody. And I guess it would be better to have like the mentor-mentee communication on there, because it's just open to everybody anyway. Or we just outsource all the communication to email, which might be better, even especially if the mentors are older, like maybe already professors, maybe they would just prefer to write by email, and then like get into contact to Zoom or to Skype or whatever. And the idea is then that this part would then just be a bridge to the Europlanet mentoring offer, because Europlanet themselves, they have like this ongoing mentoring offer. So Zé is like informed, and to really funnel, if you really liked this mentoring experience or mentee experience, there's a whole program that goes on throughout the whole year. And a very important point, we have to really make sure that we clarify who's the person who has to initiate contact yeah, so I guess the mentee has to reach out to the mentor, or the other way around. Actually, both are perfectly valid ways, but we have to tell them, otherwise sometimes there was no connection initiated because both of them thought, well, if they want something, they're gonna, well, that's that. Second thing, this is actually new this year, but it's not new to the program. Shirirup suggested that we can have like a so-called Epec lounge. It's basically where you meet and socialize. It's just spaces that are open 24/7. It's still open if it's going to be WonderMe or Kuma Space or something completely different, but most likely nothing. And not completely different. Most likely it's going to be either Wonder or Kuma Space. We got a feedback that WonderMe is nice, but it's not too much fun because it's a bit like dry, whereas Kuma Space is a bit closer to the Gather Town. Well, you don't have like a thingy, but like you have tables and like it looks more like an area than just like a blank space. Yeah, and like we have to find ways to make WonderMe more exciting. Maybe having more interesting area names, or yeah, so this is still ongoing, but and we will collaborate with Europlanet because they also want to have something similar, but we think we should also have like an Epec lounge separate from all the other EPSC coffee breaks, so that if you're looking for early careers to talk about early career things, then you have this this little lounge place where you can just meet up. Next up, the social event, like every year. So we had some ideas, which throwing some ideas around that we could make like rooms or areas, depending on which platform, about like hobbies to get the conversation started. For example, also like a joke category, like I grow carrots for my unicorn. Maybe some people are like, yeah, that's actually what I like to do. Yeah, and then maybe change area names to move people around, like get statements or questions, just to get them moving around, a bit like in the icebreaker from Indu, but that you basically break up the groups again and they can just move to new groups to go talk with those people. And yeah, like we will definitely also ask over Slack for like ideas of like clever questions. We try to come up with as many as we can, but of course we will just reach out to the whole Epec for more ideas. And if you like now think about, hey, that would be cool if I can like help with the social event, you can join Shrirup and Joanna to get like more fun and games on, like we did on this social event, where somebody would like wants to make out, I want to do Among Us, somebody wants to do Scribble, go for it, get in contact. You don't have to permanently join our working group, don't be afraid, but you can always just throw in ideas and say, hey, I would be up for hosting one specific thing during the social event. So get in contact if that's your thing. Then something new, which is old, that's now new again, because we noticed that we forgot to have an icebreaker, because the social event will not be at the very beginning of the conference. We need something to get the early careers like hooked, tell them, hey, we have a Slack and we have those events, and come around. And something like also in the way that Indu does it, that people get like a bit more chill, like it's not that serious. So we definitely need ideas for that and helpers. Like so far, it's also like the people who do the social event, we just allotted it to them, but it's always nice to have like more hands on deck to get like the best experience and like lots of ideas condensed into one great idea. So again, if that sounds like fun, get in contact. Then this is related to the communications working group. To one point, no, not yet, next one. So first of all, we just confirmed like using Slack alone doesn't work, using mail alone doesn't work. It always has to be a Slack and a mail advertisement for like anything important that we do. And of course, at EPSC, there will be the EPS Slack and the EPSC early career mailing list to really try to get everybody. Last year, we had 200 people on the Slack ultimately, but there are still more early careers. And there's some early careers that are a bit like me who don't like to join on platforms, but then ultimately do it and enjoy it. So these people you have to reach by mail. And now advertising part 2, like we will do it like in the last EPSC. We will like write some blurbs for Twitter and like for Slack, like ads ahead of time that we want to share, and that we then work together with the communications working group so that they just post our tweets. You see how proficient I am in that. And yeah, also we have like those pre-written emails to advertise things. Now the question is, how much can we also outsource to the communication group? So maybe they are like a bit more keen on writing advertisements, because so far it will be just everybody who organizes an event or a short course will write their own advertisement, and then we try to work together with the communication working group to get it like as good as it can be. Like I worked together with Ines to get like a Twitter better than what it was than what we wrote. But so yeah, that's just an idea, and we will get in contact with you, Epec Communications. So
all right. Looking forward.
And we have a new co-chair.
Oh.
Amazing. Actually, Jules volunteered to join, to act as a co-chair. There was a little discussion between Zé and Jules. Who wants to do it? Everybody was suddenly eager to do it. But yeah, I love it. I really look forward to having the co-chair and to organize some great events together and organize events together. So if you think some of these things sound amazing and you still want to like get in on the fun, you can join anytime. Just join the Slack channels. There have been enough links to it, so go ahead. That's it, and let's have a look at the question.
Yeah, Jules, thank you very much. Jules wrote in the chat, volunteer.
Come on.
So basically, we had like a I don't remember the name in English. Scissors and stone, papers, and scissors, and he won.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we threatened him that we would like share his address with everybody if he doesn't join. No.
I think I'm kind of doing the same with James, but
it's fine.
Yeah.
The results, how you say that? The means and the results, that's saying, you know what I mean? Cool.
The results justify the means.
There we go. Thank you.
The results, the ends. Actually, I've always heard the ends justify the means. But yeah, that was
yeah. That's the correct one.
The means justify the ends. Yeah, I saw some comments like that GatherTown is free for 25 online users. That's sweet, but that's also cute because we will definitely be more than 25. So unfortunately, GatherTown will most likely not make the cut because it's just too expensive for Europlanet. And they just said they already decided on the pricing for the conference. So yeah, they cannot make another loss this year. So they're not going to spend a lot of money on a platform. Any more questions? There's like
wants to ask a question.
Yeah, Noah, Shirup here.
Yes.
So I would surely ask all the gathered participants and the professionals here to join or help join with me to conduct the social events, me and Joanna. I am pretty sure, and I very much understand that it looks a bit simple. Wonder me. There are quite a lot of, but that simplicity is what allows us to make it more entertaining. It's like we can put some things into it simultaneously to conduct what kind of games, if what do we say, Jules, if Jules can recommend and join me. Maybe something in my head is to top of my head is to either include Scribble or meme making contest, or to also help me to conduct an online game which people can just play whenever they are in the Epec launch. It's something like Pac-Man, but it's just for like, hey, how's it going? It's like not an icebreaker. It's like, so this is how what you are playing, and then the conversation can start flowing over there. Mm-hmm. So some kind of online games and more information on social events will be updated on Slack.
Yeah. That's a great idea, actually. Like all those suggestions of the different games that we can make, and ultimately you will definitely need several people to co-host with you, because you cannot split yourself in like 5 different sub channels. So this is actually why we need the people. I guess I will also try to like co-host something, but I just say whenever there are people who already have great ideas and that they are super motivated to do it, just do it.
Like people have
the one evening social event, you're gonna have fun anyway, and you want to do something cool that you really love, just let us know.
Because people, because the participants over here would have attended different or other workshops where they would have seen some other kind of game or some other kind of a social event which they would find interesting, and if they recommend it to us, then we can collaborate with that specific participant to understand what is that game and then try to include it in Wonder Me. That's one of the best things. It's simple, it's dry, but it's up to us to make it exciting and colorful.
Yeah, I agree on that. Cool. Anything else? All right, then we give the stage to the next group.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Noah. So the last working group is future research. And yeah, it's the last one. So then we can have our coffee break and we don't have so much delay at the end. Hans
is not here, so it's up to me to discuss what have been discussed yesterday. And since I was not in the discussion, I don't know. But Hans told me by mail. So it seems that we have 2 new. In fact, I'm reading the mail again. 2 potential new members, yes. So that's great. It's Karina, and the other one I don't even know.
Jonathan, I think, right?
Jonathan, okay.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the other one.
Okay, so you will be part of the next meeting. Anyone else who wants to join the next meeting? It will be on 30th of June. Yes, a Wednesday. So don't hesitate to contact us. For the moment, in the future research working group, we are doing some interview. We have done some interviews of people that work in between the world of the academia and industry, as we said on Wednesday and Thursday, Tuesday. And then in the future, it's up to you. I mean, we don't have any fixed idea, so it's up to you to propose and to explore new things in that area. So that's it. You already more or less know the purpose of this working group. So don't hesitate to, even if you don't want to stay once more, one additional more meeting. If you just want to attend one meeting to just have an idea of what are we doing, you can, and it's not as Erika said, it's not a contract to sign, so no worries. And that's it. If you have any question, of course I can take it.
Thank you, Baptiste. Let's see if there are questions, comments. Yeah, there is a comment by Noah, but I think it's related to the previous conversation.
Yeah, I think it's related to the wonder that there's still a limitation of 15 people per circle. But at the same time, if you have a social event, if you have more than 15 people, you don't have like a natural communication anymore.
That's right.
If you have more than 15 people, you can't really play together anymore. There's a few games that you can really play with so many people, and still you lose a bit the fun of it. So it's better to just divide into smaller groups, like having 2 smaller scribble groups. Then otherwise you just have too many people.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. Yes.
That's right. So if there are no questions or comments or ideas for future research and Baptiste, I just noticed that Fivos is back. Are you here, Fivos?
Yeah, I'm back from my meeting. So,
a couple of
yeah, I would like to share with you some words about the communications working group. So I shared also the URL for the for the communications working group activities in the Europlanet website. I want to report that yesterday there was absolutely no discussion about communications during the brainstorming session. So as I don't have something to report more in terms of experience, I think that something important would be to try to improve the way that we communicate our activities in the annual week, as this is the last shot. So I would like to say that the communications working group is quite important because it's the face of the network outside of Europlanet and outside of the network itself, which means that we need people because there is no room to not do their work. For example, we cannot just postpone to advertise some activities, or we cannot postpone to show an opportunity that exists within the network, or we cannot postpone a tweet or any kind of post or any kind of advertisement that another group needs to be done in order to coordinate well the activities and make the Epec a really inclusive network, because all these things start from the point that people are aware of what Epec is doing. They are very aware of the way that they can join Epec, and they're also aware of what are the opportunities for the activities that they can develop in the network. So, of course, one thing that I would like to ask you all to do now, because this will help to have also feedback from inside the Epec about the work of the group, is to find the Facebook page, find the Twitter page, and give us feedback either on Slack or in email or any kind of communication that you have with the Epec and the group itself, because these are tools that are very necessary to work well for the network and for Europlanet as well. The second thing is that I would like directly to make a call for volunteers. Whoever can write some paragraphs in English and has some knowledge of how to use, for example, a WordPress site, or how to make efficient tweets or something, or how to make logos, or as I also mentioned in the presentation, we try to cover all the needs of the network in terms of communication. Please step up and give a hand of help on this, because if this group is small, it cannot do what is necessary to be done for the network. And in the end, I want to talk again about our little dream, let's say. If we manage to have a podcast with early career scientists showing up every month and talking about their work, and be able to give it to people in a format that they can listen while they're running, or where they're going for the groceries, or while they're just relaxing in their homes, which means out of their computers, out of their working stations, and make the communication within the network and with the Europlanet, and also in a way of outreach activity to the general public, much easier. This will be a huge step forward for the early career scientists. And we need also feedback for this, and we need people who want to do even very few things. We know and we are ready to give space for the creativity of any person. It really matters if you step up and you say, even if you say, you know, this podcast is a nice idea, but I don't know what I can do. Believe me, we have so many activities within the group while we were preparing this that we know what every person can offer, and there is no person that is not able to contribute on this. And I think that this will be a very, very huge step forward in the extent of where the profile of the Epec network goes. So yeah, these were my comments. This was the last presentation of the communications working group. That was troublesome during the week. And I see that there are questions. I haven't seen the chat, but
yeah, there are a couple of questions. Thank you very much, Vivos. Also, just to make you aware of what you missed in this short period where you weren't online, Noah proposed to have a meeting, a call, like even every 2 months. It doesn't have to happen on a weekly basis, but just to stay in contact with the other working groups and be aware of what they're doing, so that we as the communication working group can, you know, communicate about what they're doing. So just to tell you this very short thing, and now we can go to the raised hands. Noah?
Actually, that's exactly what I wanted to say.
Okay, sorry.
And no, it's perfectly fine. I think it's also important, like that it's not only like just a call of all the working groups coming together. It's more like it's your call as the communication working group telling us other working groups, okay, this is the time we meet, come by and tell us what you're doing and what you need communicated, right? And if people then, like, maybe you can even make it with a sign up that maybe if some working groups have nothing to report, then they say, okay, we're not going to show up, maybe, even though it might be interesting for them to hear what other people are like doing, but that it should be short and it should be informative, that people really know what's going on. And like calls like Ines did over Slack, like, hey, give us a short Twitter ad about your group, that this can be like done a bit more in person. So this can be like communicated like in another way than over Slack, which did not seem to reach enough people, or enough, well, working groups, so to speak. So that it's really from you to get us to tell you exactly what we need and what we plan, and you tell us what you plan. But it's your responsibility, it's your call. But that would be great if you can get the communication going in this way, because I think just writing is not going to work.
Okay. I think that this might be coordinated as well by the committee, because this is where all the groups gather together. I mean, a meeting that all the groups are there, and the communications group representative can keep track of the needs of all the groups. I mean, instead of having just a communications group calling all other, have this kind of activity, because there are also other interfered needs of groups.
Yeah, of course.
Can I interject here?
So, sorry, I would just want to finish my point. Sorry, I think it's very important that this meeting is really very to the point. Like, it can't be like a 2-hour meeting every month. It should really just, for the working groups, telling you, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what we will have to advertise. It should really just be for communication. Like having a meetup where all the working groups tell each other what they're doing, that's like something bigger, but you can't do that every month. And like you need much more specific, because otherwise we would just invite you to our meetings, but I don't want you to sit through a 1.5-hour meeting so that you in the end know what we are all doing, but maybe we don't need something advertised yet because we're just organizing. So it should be very efficient for your time and for ours.
Okay, yeah, I see the point.
Okay.
Hey, Ines, you wanted to say something on this,
yeah,
right?
I want to say something just because we've been trying to find ways for the working groups to keep in touch with us. For those of you who don't know, Erica and I are in charge of the Twitter account and the social media in general. And we started a Google Doc where every working group, again, it's not working because people either don't see it or don't think about it. But I like your idea of having like regular check-ins, but that's a lot of work to do that. And I think that it's also on the working group chairs to keep track of what they want to advertise and to tell us when they, because coming up with all the content has been very difficult the last few months. And it's really better if you come to us when you have something to advertise. The Twitter Google Sheet was for that. Or, of course, there's some things that are monthly things like the inspiring story, for outreach, like the motivational journeys and stuff like that, that if we can come up with like a fixed schedule, it would be a lot more efficient than having to schedule meetings, go to meetings, and like make like a synthesis of that. I think it would be a lot more efficient if we come up with a process and that everybody follows the process. That doesn't mean that we can't meet every few months, just check in person, but I think time-wise, it'll be a lot more efficient if we do it the other way around.
Is the link to the Google document in the chat, and that's a spreadsheet that we created, but that no one really filled.
I just, sorry that I cut in again between the hands, but just like a direct answer to Ines. I think I haven't used that since. Like I just know like last EPSC, this was when I presented and you guys unfortunately weren't there. Like that we pre-wrote our tweets and then we gave them to you. However, like you as a communication group have much more experience. Like the other day I was also working with you, Ines, to like improve on a tweet. So sometimes like a communication, the way we should communicate things should be discussed before we want to communicate it, all right? So if we do it like 3 days before EPSC, it's too late. Like
of course.
So we need meetings sometimes to discuss on how we should communicate certain things. I don't say we should do it all the time, but like I think it's nice.
I think for EPSC in particular, and for annual week as well, we should have dedicated meeting ahead of time to discuss how we're going to do things. That's for sure. The Google Doc was more something like for the rest of the year, like in normal times, the way it would work is if you have something, you just put it through the sheet and then we schedule it according to your needs. Basically, if you take a look at the Google Sheet, we have one tab that's dedicated just for working groups input. And then we put it in the schedule and we reward it if it's necessary. We check that it fits the guidelines that Europlanet has come up with, that I summarized the main points in the first tab. So the idea is that we can improve on it. The idea was to get feedback from you guys to improve on it if it doesn't work. But I think we should just give it a try. And of course, for EPSC and for annual week in particular, like when we have events, I think it's helpful to have a dedicated meeting about this. And more generally, if you have questions, if you need advice on how to communicate things, you can ask for a special meeting on a specific issue. I totally understand that not everyone is comfortable with social media or knows how to communicate in the best way. That's totally fair. But I just like the Google Sheet is more of a general tool that will make our lives easier.
And exactly this Google Sheet, I think you would have had to introduce this in a short video session where you invited all the chairs to say, listen, we have a sheet. I show you how it all works. Because I've looked at it shortly. Now I look at it again, and I would really love to be walked through it to get the intents and the ideas behind it. Because otherwise, it's not the same thing if you write to people, just type in your tweets.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to work.
That's fair. We can schedule that.
One thing is that we can also, as we all have access to the, as users of Europlanet, to the website, maybe we can coordinate with the website and we open you an interface that you put tickets there and we just take care of the tickets and solve them by putting the communications in the appropriate platforms and everything. We can see this with the Europlanet management. Directly.
Maybe we can have a meeting with all the working group chairs and the social media team, and just present some options and like have a vote on what works best for you guys. And then we try it and we see, and we just improve on it as we go. I think it's a good way to go.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
There are other raised hands. Indu and Jose.
Indu, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I just lowered the hands because whatever I want to discuss, you guys just discussed it, and I was just going to repeat it. Actually, honestly, even I didn't know about this Google Sheet. I don't know how I missed it myself. So it just means that it has been just shown once. And then
we sent also emails.
It has said, yeah, we sent countless messages and emails. So
with,
that
like, urgent.
I do not know. Then the email might have been put this important email into updates forum. I do not know what happened, but this didn't come into my primary email, and I didn't see that in Slack. It's surprising. I mean, what I'm just saying is that, like, it happened to me. It might have happened to different chairs as well. And you know, for example, I don't know if this is shared in the Epec committee Slack channel. I have no idea. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes it's just not visible as it should be. I'm surprised. So
yeah, and both on the Slack channel and
it was pretty much everywhere. But the newest point is taken. Yeah, newest point is taken that we should have a meeting about it. And I think it would have been a good idea, but people didn't respond to meeting requests either at the time. So, but it's a good thing. Like, annual week is a good thing to like start everything back up, and we'll definitely take you up on it and send you other emails about it.
If you want, this is a personal comment. It doesn't reflect any common idea in the group because we haven't discussed this. But I think that the Google Sheets archiving was good when we didn't have developed many things. But there is at some point, I think that Google Spreadsheets and Google Docs are not exactly what we need because we have too many of them right now. Yeah. And maybe it would be for not only for the communication purposes, but for all the network. Maybe we can find more efficient tools for scheduling, archiving, and this will really help because also through my communications with Melissa, who is the chair of the working group, there is a lot of work that is all spread around and with, you know, this generic Google Docs or spreadsheets or anything links that it's really hard for people to follow. When we started this and we had just one project, it's okay. You have one Google link, but maybe this is something we can see because this will make our work much more efficient. And
I totally agree, Fovius, because you think GitHub will work? I only know, like,
I don't not made for that.
GitHub.
I don't think it would.
Will GitHub?
Oh, I don't think that we need something so code oriented. I just think that
no. You know, we can also use GitHub for documentation. I do not know if there is a different documentation platform, but then GitHub will allow you to add tickets. It allows you to add comments and posts, and we can create different folders for different working groups. It's just an idea which came to my head, but I totally agree.
I think it's something. I think it's something that we need to think in a meeting because actually I agree with your comment and probably other people's comments that that it's hard to keep track of all these generic Google links that exist for our communication. I understand this concern, and we need to find a way that I think it's not easy to find it in 5 minutes discussion. If it was, I think we would have done it already.
Yes.
I think you're right in the sense that we definitely need a meeting of the committee to discuss this. But I think the problem with the way the Google documents have been handled is that you shouldn't send generic links for everything. You should have one folder that's a shared folder with everything. And that's the only link that you need to remember and to bookmark. And then inside that folder, you can have individual folders for every working group. And within that, so it's really easy. Like I've been using Google Docs for organization much larger than Epec, and it works if people make the effort of just having like one centralized link with everything. So it's easier to find. But we can definitely discuss other tools, just that I don't have the experience with other tools. I'm just saying, I think it's not the tool that's the problem, it's the way we've been using it.
Actually, we do that, Ines. We do that, just that it was not maintained. So for example, Epec itself has its own drive. It is cataloged for every year, and for every communications, there's a communications folder. We are supposed to add all the communication related things in this folder.
That's what I do. And that,
it's only shared with Epec Communications. So there is a separate folders for each and every working group. It's just that we need to make a habit of putting everything which is shared for each and every working group. But I agree that we have to work on that.
Your hand is raised, like it has been raised for a long time.
Mine?
Your hand was raised.
Yeah. It's really off this topic right now. But Fivas, I hope I'm not butchering your name. But I really liked your idea, your dream idea of the podcast. I would be very keen on collaborating on that. I think that's a wonderful idea. I have a question though. How long do you expect this podcast to be? How long each episode, so to speak?
So we have, first of all, I just want to say, without want to put any pressure on Europlan that decides the fate of the funding of this project, we have already made the proposal of it with all the budget that we need and anything. So I will avoid to talk about budget here because it's been sent as a proposal. In terms of the episodes, it has been proven that an efficient episode that is mostly also listened in an international audience, which means not the native language of somebody, should be around 20 to 25 minutes, not more than this. So I have seen that when it comes to science communication, even the native speakers find really hard to follow something which is more than 25 minutes actually. And if 45 minutes is the recommended length of a university lecture, even if it's never respected in most universities, we cannot think that any kind of podcast should go more than 25 minutes in our production. And these 25 minutes, of course, should contain, it's not only about the length, but it's also about the density of the information that is contained. There should be stops filled with music or bells or something. So the structure of a podcast should be really clear for somebody to follow. There should be a very clear introduction, then there should be a very clear section to section, fragment to fragment, so that one, even if looking for the green beans in the grocery store, can follow what's going on in the thing that they listen. So I think that I gave an answer, right?
Yeah, just wanted to let you know that I would be very keen on collaborating on that project. If
okay
with you.
Yeah, I mean, I keep it, but of course, feel free to, if you write a message on the Slack channel, I can put directly you in the discussion for the in the lineup that we discuss how we will start this whenever we have the resources to start it. Okay. I mean, the material resources to start.
Great, thank you.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Yeah, in the chat, Jewel commented that maybe it's a big commitment to make a podcast, but my answer to that was that if we are many people, then the work is divided into more people, so it's less of a.
Yeah, one thing that I should say on this is that we didn't plan to do this without any prior experience. First of all, two of us that we took care to shape a little bit the format and the necessities of it. We're running podcasts out of Epec, so we kind of have dealt with the issues and the time consumption, and this is why I also said before that we know where everybody can help. There are so many things that can be done, and believe me, more people will improve, of course, the quality, because we can organize better and share better the amount of work, and this will work great. We don't really want to do everything from the preparation to the script writing, to the recording, to the editing, and also all the technical maintenance, just 2 or 3 people. We need a good team there that will contribute on how Epec is represented to the world.
And I've also questioned, I think what's also super important is that you find a person who's very good at interviewing and at feeling the people that the person, he or she or whatever talks to, so that some parts are definitely like the questions might be prepared, but like where the interview goes ultimately doesn't have to be completely pre-prepared, because there's so many interesting stories that you cannot foresee when you interview a person. And I think that could also be a value, because there will be maybe more or less similar questions every time, but you need a very solid interviewer to carry each of those podcasts that people like to come back to, right?
Yeah,
that's tough, I guess.
Actually, every kind of show, let's say, it's audio show, but every kind of audio show has its own specific, let's say, demands and tricky things. And this is where every one of us, we are professional scientists, but we are amateur journalists, and we need to take some key elements about efficient journalism, even if it has to do with interviewing, for example, a senior scientist, or try to develop a dialogue with an early career, because I believe that if an early career is there, we can work together in order to prepare the script for making a nice presentation of their work, or even when breaking down into plain words a scientific theory or something. This is also some that has different kind of tricky parts on how you can do it efficiently with the less and more understandable to more people. So these are the 3 kind of shows that we plan to have. One is discussing science, second is discussing with early careers and their plans, so members of the Epec, and the third is interviewing scientists. Every part of them has different tricky issues that, of course, we are all learning, and nobody is professional journalist among us. And this is something that is a very useful skill, if you want, in a world that there are many career opportunities after the PhD on interdisciplinary communication, scientific liaising, and taking roles in scientific organizations about how to make scientists, first of all, and then the general public communicate with each other. I think this is an exercise that is a huge asset in order to move forward and say, I have done this. I have interviewed senior scientists, worked into developing the presence of early career scientists and broke down in plain words scientific projects or scientific publications. I think that this is a tool that will be really helpful for the Epec and also help the Epec outreach. I mean, for the members themselves, and also contribute to the outreach purpose of the network.
It's actually a very nice keyword. So I guess you also want to work together with the outreach group. I guess they might also help you with those podcasts to get people involved that are also like interesting figures.
So this is another point that is important. So obviously communications and outreach groups, and mostly in a time of pandemic, they overlap like a lot. The margins are really thin because if everything is done through communication tools and not in-person communication, these two groups it's really hard sometimes to understand when the one starts and when the other is ending. But obviously the activities of the outreach group is a big field that should be communicated through the podcast. The thing is that a podcast is much more powerful than a tweet or a Facebook post or a post on WordPress. Is really something that is very emerging. It's a very big market that is growing and very popular in, if you want, the profile of people that we are addressing to and the age profile that we are addressing to. So this is something that in one way or another we will do it. And this is why we discuss it even before having the results of the proposal, because even if it doesn't work, we will suggest it again and again in a better format. We will work, this is a goal of the group, to make it work.
Thank you very much for this discussion. I think it helped a lot to feed new ideas and solve doubts. If there are no other questions for Fivos and the communication working group, I would suggest we have a coffee. The coffee break was supposed to happen at 11, but I'm very happy that the discussion went so smoothly that, I mean, we almost didn't need it, but now I think we need it. So yeah, let's have a 20 minutes break. What do you say? And meet here again at 12 to just make the final discussion and conclusion. And yeah, I will say a couple of words. And yeah, let's meet on Wonder. I'll paste again the link and we will resume at 12. Okay. I'll see you in a while and I'll see you on Wonder. Okay, thank you, Edith. Usually during the annual week, we propose a survey to have your feedback about how the annual week was, if you enjoyed it. I will prepare it and I will send it to you in a couple of days. And it will take just a few seconds, so please, please do it, because it's very important for us to know what you appreciated of the annual week, what was not so convincing in your opinion, because that way we can do better and better every year. We can do a last group pictures for my sign-off tweet when this is over, sure. Yeah, we have.
You can also use the ones from
we
before.
took them like an hour ago or something, but we can do a new one because you weren't here. I think neither Fivos was here, so yeah, we can definitely take a new one. Yeah, we can take a new one. It's okay, so that all of us are in all the pictures. And yeah, Indu, do you want to say something? Because Indu moved to California for a new adventure and experience. And as she said, also, she's been the chair for 3 years. So we're looking for new co-chairs to take over. So I'm sure you want to say something to all of us.
Oh, yes. Okay. I simply like kept this. You have been learned a lot about. Sorry, my brain is draining. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. My words are not coming out of my mouth. I'm sorry. You must have learned a lot about Epec Annual Week this year. And in case you haven't followed up, I'll put this link again in the Slack. Stand up for the Epec co-chair election. If you are in the Epec mailing list, you must have already got the email. You must have known that Epec is a very nice community of friends, and the chair, the co-chair, it's just, it gives additional responsibility to take care of things. But other than that, it's really a nice teamwork, and you always work with your friends. And when you are down, your friends are always there to help you in Epec. And I think I'll say that even if you think, okay, I have no experience, I have nothing, you just stand up for, you just apply for the selection. It's a very, very nice, a short Google form you just have to fill to apply for the election. And I think you should do that. But even if you do not want to be a chair, want to stand up for Epec co-chairs, keep in touch with all the working group teams. You must have already seen, or in case not, let me stop sharing and stop sharing the desktop itself. I think that's better. If not, there are all the working groups. What you see here, there is Slack channel for that. Be in touch with them. Maybe when time permits, when everything permits, you can always, you can always share your ideas. And sometimes you may want, you get to work with your own ideas. Whenever we do things at Epec, you come with an idea. It's like something, and then like how Foy was passionately talking about podcast, and one day the idea becomes reality. It's like you have given birth to a small baby of your own, because once upon a time it was just something, and now you see that happening. And most of the Epec projects were always like that. It always Epec Annual Week participants becomes the Epec committee, and then they all the ideas which is proposed in Epec Annual Week, at least 60 to 70% of them gets through over 1 or 2 years. And it's an amazing opportunity where your voice is heard, and you get an opportunity to work what you want. And you just see that, if you have new publications, you can always share in Epec Slack channel. Just explore Epec Slack channel. We really try to promote a lot, because that's one stop. You are really connected with everybody, pandemic or not, on-site or virtual or not. I just wanted to show you like 3 slides. If Erica gives an opportunity to speak, join Epec Slack. I just wanted to show what Epec Slack is. They're like 176 early careers are connected, and it's very live. It's very lively Slack. You post something, there are always responses from people. It's very amazing. And like Erica always says, I really love when she says this, Epec friend is a friend forever. And yeah, so we would want to be in touch with you. It's very nice to know you. And there are volunteers, there are opportunities, or there in every working group. What you see here, in every working group, what you hear today, here the whole week during the annual week, Epec has so many opportunities to explore and expand. And yeah, let's put hands together, get connected, and then do stuff that makes our Epec life easier and better. That's all I want.
Thank you very much, Indu. I also want to say a couple of words. I was a bit scared of a virtual event when we first thought of organizing one. I was scared because the spirit of the annual week is so friendly, and also, the fact of being there physically all together and gather and, do the workshops together physically or go for dinner. That was for me one of the main aspects of the annual week. So I was really, really scared of a virtual event. I didn't know what to expect. And I have really to thank you very much, because you have been so active. You made it almost like it was in person. I mean, I was feeling the whole time that we were close, like if we were in the same room. So really, yeah, thank you very, very much. I'm gonna cry now. I'm too sensitive for these things. And I have to thank you very, very much the people that helped me. So Baptiste, who has been all the time here, and he can't even imagine how much he helped me. And Ines and Indu, and also Zach during the social event, and in general, all the chairs of the working groups. Thank you very much, because I think what we're doing really, it's special. I really love the whole idea of Epec, how we can support each other, how we can be active and do so many wonderful things together. So thanks to each one of you for attending the annual week and being here and helping me, because I mean, this is my first time being in charge of the annual week. So I remember the first day, guys, I have to tell you, I was super freaking out for the welcome talk. Yeah, I was super nervous, but then when I saw your face, it was just like, you know, it's the Epec annual week. We're all friends. We're all going through the same things. So yeah, 1,000 times, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you to you, because it's the success of this week is just on your shoulders. So we have to do a virtual ovation. So I would propose to turn on our webcam and to.
Yes, actually, we have a tradition in Epec annual week. We do clap our Epec chairs. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Means so
especially
much.
So close to you, especially so close to your defense. You did an amazing job, almost all by yourself, for like the most part of it. So yeah, thank you, Erica, and congratulations.
Yeah. Amazing. Actually, you know, if you guys didn't know, in Epec annual week, at the end of social event, everybody claps our chair. It's because they've done amazingly, and because it's virtual event, we missed that, and I was like keeping that for the end. It's like, when everything is done, it's like, let's do this thing for it. Yeah, it's amazing, Erica. And thanks, Batiste, for starting it and showing it. I was just keeping that on my note. It's like, never forget that obviously.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. So there are a few comments and questions still.
Yes, there is one question from Baptiste, in fact.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's clear. It's pretty clear for me, but maybe it's not for everybody. I don't know. Should we be Europlanet member? Should we be Europlanet Society member to be part of the Epec or not? Because maybe some of you don't know the Europlanet Society concept. I don't know.
Actually,
and I know that all of us are not members. So this is a question to raise maybe.
Okay, Europlanet really says that everybody should be registered, but I would say you doesn't really have just to be a part of the community. I mean, I don't think I can say this officially in a recorded event.
Stop recording.
But then, as like I said, Epec Slack, to be in Epec Slack and to be the community, you doesn't really have to be a society member. You have an invite link. Anybody with the invite link can be in Slack. And
so but we strongly suggest you to become a Europlanet member.
For example, if you would have been an on-site Epec annual week, everybody would have to be a Europlanet Society member to get the reimbursement. So that kind of force would have come because it's a virtual event. It was not really a push through. But if to get a funding back or to get reimbursement back from Europlanet, then we need to be a society member. Even to write a proposal that we submit to Europlanet, we need to be a member. I think being a member, you get lots of benefits from EPSC and everything, but to be in Epec community as a Slack, yeah, we do not every student gets funding to be as a society member. And yeah, I will just leave it to that.
Yeah, I mean, Your Planet supports us in all the ways they can. So yeah, we have a reduced fee to be members of the Your Planet Society. That's why I strongly encourage this. Also, you will have a reduced fee for the EPSC. So there are some advantages. And of course, we're going to support someone, I mean, an entity that supports us all the time. So I think it's...
I'd say the only instance where you have to be a member is if you're in the committee of Epec, but if you're
you naturally will. So if you think about it, because all of us always submit an abstract to EPSC, so we naturally becomes a Epec, as a society member, and then we are part of Epec. So that's why we do not really put a flag that join Epec, become a member now. We do not push that very strongly because we naturally become a society member because we submit abstracts in every EPSC.
Normally that's Nigel that really says, and you all sign up now for Europlanet. So
it is important.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I have something that might help, and if it's wrong, you can correct me. If it's not, you should not officially agree with me. So Epec is the Europlanet part, the early career part of Europlanet Society. It acts within the Europlanet margins. It means that it is a space for early careers to act in Europlanet. So if Epec manages to gather people who are not Europlanet members yet, it means that Epec acts like a very good recruiter of new members for Europlanet. Therefore, having the Epec doors open to all early careers acts in the benefit of Europlanet Society. Full stop.
Totally agree. And I think Europlanet knows this a lot, and that's why we get all the amazing support. It's given.
I think the early career members are the larger part of Europlanet Society. Actually, it may change this year because they actually gave a discount, like a significant discount for EPSC, so it might change. But I think as of last year, the early career portion of the members was quite significant.
Just to second what Fivos said, in 2019, when I was at my first Epec annual week, because of all the advertisers, so to speak, then next week I became a member for Europlanet Society. So yeah, that's totally true. What Fivos said is totally true. And there's a lot of benefits to being a member of Europlanet Society. And in my case, my institution cannot pay for my subscription, but it suits everyone. Kind of suits themselves. But it's 25 euros our fee yearly. So fortunately, I don't think it's too much, but I totally understand people.
More importantly, I think, Zé, for you, it could even be 15 euros per year, because if you're from an underrepresented country and you're from Portugal, and I guess it's on the list, it only costs you 15 euros for a year. So if you are active in this community and you're from an underrepresented country, if this is worth 15 euros to you to learn and to get like involved in things that will get you further in life, I don't think we have to continue on discussing if it's worthwhile or not to join.
We should probably suggest Europlanet to include also PayPal as a method of payment, because not everyone has a credit card that allows you to do online shopping. So that's why, for example, I couldn't do it because my card is not good for that. And there is not a PayPal option. So I should suggest that to anyone.
It's not a bad idea, yeah. I think you should say so.
Yeah. So that, I mean, discourages eventual subscriptions. Okay, let's see if there are other comments, questions. There is a discussion open of types of alcohol. We'll ignore that for now. Yeah.
I think we should also emphasize again, like to the 24 people still here, well, not to all the 24 because most of them are chairs anyway. We really need 2 new chairs for Epec.
Yeah.
We call them co-chair because they're like chairing it together. But we really need 2 new people who lead this bunch into the future. Just that you know, like if you think that that sounds cool, you will be working together with all of us again, all the time.
Yay! Yeah. Okay. I think we really came to an end. It's so sad. But yeah, hopefully next year we can meet in person. So pray. And I will send you the survey soon. Yeah, I agree, Fivos. I agree. Yeah, true.
You should go for it.
Don't take him away
if you want,
from me.
but I will make it in French. It will be more easier for me.
That's okay. Okay, guys. Yeah, I really can't say goodbye, but
then we will be in touch in Slack.
Yeah, I'll see you soon on Slack, and nice all these great things that we discussed in the working groups. And thank you, everyone. Really, thank you very much. I think it worked, and we had a lot of fun.
Thank you, Erika.
Thank you so much, Erika. It's just an idea. So shall we put a reaction like clapping hands or love to Erika? And then we'll take a screenshot. That, yeah.
Thank you.
Where is it?
Like really hands or yellow hands like that?
Yellow hands, yeah. Oh, I don't know how to change the color. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Right, I took a picture. So yeah, I'll send you all the pictures, Ines, so that we can tweet about our successful annual week.
Yes.
I like tweet of the week, and then I'll print.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Ines, and best of luck with your submission. You're gonna rock it. Lots of energy, lots of Italian coffee.
Yeah.
And I'll be waiting for you here in California.
Yeah, I'll see you there. Yeah.
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Right.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice way. Have a nice life. Have a nice coffee. Have a nice lunch. Have a nice afternoon.
Have a nice sleep.
Yeah, for you,
Good
yes.
night.
Bye.